R, Ř. If you have difficulties producing these sounds, don't panic, you are not the only one. Some Czech children and even some Czech adults have troubles pronouncing R and Ř correctly, and they go to specialized doctors who help them solve the problem. And because I find the techniques aimed primarily for Czech natives very useful, I want to share them with you. We have to go step by step, so in this part we will focus on R, and once you master it, you can continue with Ř in the next one. Let me first show you how my tongue vibrates when I say R. When you pronounce R in a word, it should sound like this. Rád, ráda, bar, Amerika, Berlín, dolar, restaurace. The first technique I want to share with you is mechanical, and you will use your finger to help your tongue vibrate. Put the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth, right behind your teeth. It touches the top of the little ridge you feel there. And with the tongue in this position, you will start to say D quickly. And now take your finger and put it under your tongue and move it quickly from right to left while saying D. You can also try to use a Q-tip instead of your finger, and if it's too difficult for you to coordinate those two things at a time, ask someone to help you and to move the Q-tip for you. For the second technique, we will need a group of syllables to practice with. Tra, tre, tri, tro, tru. Your task will be to pronounce them, but instead of trying to say R, just say D instead. While saying D, the tongue will be in the same position as before, so just forget about R in this moment and say D. It will look like this. The da, the de, the di, the do, the do. But the trick here is that you pronounce it in low voice, almost whispering, and because our goal in the end is to make our tongue vibrate, it can't be tense, you have to relax it. So don't say it too hard, try to make the sound as soft as possible. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-dee, ta-do, ta-do. While saying the tip of your tongue will only quickly and slightly touch the roof of your mouth. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Take your time, don't stress, and just repeat and repeat. And then you should now and then hear that you have actually pronounced R instead of D. Ta-da, 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 tra, 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 tra. You probably won't be successful immediately, but if you practice a few minutes every day, I'm sure you can do it. Once you hear the R sound for the first time, then you have it. Your mouth and your tongue already know how to produce the sound, and now you just have to focus on it and to practice it and make it perfect. Once you can pronounce R and you feel comfortable with it, you can move to the second part where I talk about Ř. And finally, don't worry. It takes time and effort, but it's possible. If 10 million Czechs learned, you can too. They have the same mouth and tongue as you do. If you have some other techniques that help you produce this sound, please share it with us in the comments so that the others can profit from it as well. And to show you that you are not alone, I asked a few of my students to share their experience with R.
Hey, Gavin here. I'm also learning Czech. I learned Spanish first before learning Czech, and that helped me with this pronunciation, so let me guide you. In Spanish, they have the rolled R, right? R, r. We don't have that in English, and I had to learn how to do that when I was learning Spanish, and I did this by saying the word didn't over and over and over again until my tongue started rolling into that R. Didn't, 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 because it all happens up here in the front of the mouth, right? Didn't, didn't. Now, cutting this rolled R into a single iteration, you get R instead of R, just R. And that's the flapped R of Spanish. And many Romance languages, Portuguese has it in abundance.
Hi, I'm here to talk about the two sounds, R and R. I'm still very much a learner myself, but here's some tips that helped me along the way. First, R. It's very similar to the English Z or the Z sound, that vibration you make. It's just a matter of location and speed. If you can make the Z sound and pull gently up and backwards, you might eventually find that you can already do this. Just practice that a few times and see what happens. This also helps a lot if you tilt your head up and look at the ceiling. I'm not sure why, but this seems to help me a lot. Finally, with this one, just practice, practice, practice. I do this on the train, on the way to work, all the time, and after a couple months, it became very, very easy for me, and hopefully it will for you as well.
Hi, I'm Alishka's student John. Learning the rolling R in Czech is not just important so that you can say every Czech word that has an R in it, but you'll also need it to say the letter R with the hat check on top, the Ř. So it's important to get the rolling R of Czech correct and early. I actually learned the rolling R when I was growing up in Los Angeles studying Spanish. To me, the rolling R in Czech sounds a lot like the rolling R in Spanish. For example, the word for dog, perro, in Spanish. I had a hard time learning it at first, but here's what I did. I practiced vibrating my tongue against the roof of my mouth while exhaling, using my breath to help with the vibration. After I was comfortable doing that, I added sound. Then, when I was comfortable doing that, I shortened it and made it into an R sound. R. R. So you can hear it's just a single vibration. You should almost hear your tongue click in the roof of your mouth as you hit that R. Think about the Czech word for bread roll, rolik, or the Czech word for please, prosím, rolik prosím. That is 2 rolling R's. Here's a Czech word that has 2 rolling R's, redaktorka, and in that second R you can really hear that R click, redaktorka. Keep practicing your rolling R, starting with the silent rolling vibration of your tongue, and work your way up, and eventually you'll be comfortable. Good luck, keep practicing.
Ř. Řekl. Talíř. Bouřka. Řemeslo. To practice the pronunciation of Ř, you will need to know how to say R first. You will say R, but in the same time you will put your teeth together and your mouth in this position.
Ro, ro, ro.
You hear that I've actually pronounced R even without trying to do it. If it doesn't work for you right now, don't worry, just keep practicing. Let's try it with syllables. I will read them out loud for you, just repeat after me. And don't forget to put your teeth together, mouth to the right position, and keep your voice low. Ra, re, ri, br, hr, kr, tr, str, vr, zr. And now we can practice with whole words. And again, don't forget to put your teeth together, your mouth to the right position, and to say r instead of r. Rád, reka, rýzek, kuchar, drevo, brycho, přítel, 4, streda. Remember that it takes time and effort, so don't be upset if you aren't successful immediately. If you already know how to say Ř, please share your story with us in the comments. And finally, here are a few of my students again and their experience with Ř.
Hey, Gavin here. I'm also learning Czech, and I totally remember trying to figure out how to pronounce that R with the hat for the first time, the Ř, right? Ř, Ř. The sound R in Czech is just a combination of this flapped R, R, and sh. At least that's how I think of it. So R plus sh is hr, hr. And honestly, I just thought of this over and over and over again. And okay, it's fine to learn the letter by itself, but it helps to pronounce it within a word. So the word that I repeated over and over again in my head was the word for river in Czech, which is řeka, řeka, řeka. I just went the whole day just saying this word in my head, and when no one was looking, I would say řeka, 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 and try harder words like the Czech flower, the Czech herb, řežicha, řežicha, which has two R's with a hat in a row, which is crazy, but you got this. We're in it together.
Hi, I'm Alishka's student John. Learning the letter R was one of the most difficult aspects of learning Czech for me. Even today, I avoid saying the number 4, 4, whenever possible. A Czech friend once told me, don't worry, even Czech President Václav Havel had a difficult time saying R. I don't know if that's true, but it did make me feel better as I try and try and try to get it right. I think of the letter R as two sounds smashed together. First, the rolling R, like you hear in many Romance languages, like the Spanish word for dog, perro. Then I think of the j in the English word television, or the Czech word for woman, žena. And I put those two together. R, j, R, j, rj, rj, rj. And I keep practicing. I find this letter easiest to pronounce when it comes in the middle of a word, and more difficult to pronounce when it comes at the beginning of a word. I have also noticed that when I say the letter R, I tend to pull my cheeks back a little bit, like I'm smiling. I don't know why it helps, but it seems to put my mouth in the right position. Then I ask myself, jak se řekne česky, I am driving to Paris? Řídím do Paříže. Řídím do Paříže. Řídím do Paříže. I hope that helps. Good luck and keep practicing.
Next, we have the R sound. It is very similar to R, but with a few important differences. It is a little bit closer to the teeth and just a little bit faster. Also, with the R sound, there's a tendency to point more forward and flatten out your tongue, whereas with R, you're pointing more upwards. Again, this is easier if you look up at the ceiling. I'm not sure why, but it seems to help me. Another tip with this, try to find a friendly letter to go before or after it. For me, it was the B. For example, in the word dobře, that just made it a lot easier to make the R sound on its own. One last tip for me, I don't know why, but this seems to be more difficult to do when you're learning after a strong flavor such as coffee or sugar. That's always made it more difficult for me. So maybe after you brush your teeth or something, this might be easier.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm one of Alishka's students. The way I think of R, R sahačkem, it's the R with the hook on it, or with the horns on it. I like to think of it as two sounds kind of coming together. So first, a rolling R, like in Spanish, R, R, R. Then I like to think of the sound je, like you might hear in French, je m'appelle, Jennifer. That sound, that je, also exists in Czech. It's the Z sahačkem, or the Z with the horns on it. So žena, this means woman. It's kind of a soft je. There's no rolling, it's just je. It's like velvet. So when you take the rolling R and you butt it up against the je, you get the erj. It's a little bit more of a violent sound. It's the r. It's the rolling R that's brought to a stop. R. Changes every time. For example, river is řeka. It's quite a little hard sound at the beginning. A little bit of a roll, r, combined with a je, řeka, řeka. What about at the end of a word? Lékař, lékař. It's like the r and it gets cut off with the je, Lékař. That means doctor or pharmacist. Lékař. Lékař. What about in the middle of the word? These for me are the hardest, especially because it's generally combined with another consonant, like před. Před. That means before. Před. Před. That one I almost really emphasize sort of the violent ending of the R. Před. Před. Sounds a little different when I use it at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end, but that's because I'm still learning. I still can't say the number 4. Čtyři. 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 I can't do it. If I need to order 4 beers, I'll just order 5 and give one away. So my advice is to really try to overemphasize this sound, and eventually your mouth will get comfortable enough with the muscles it takes to form it, and then you can dial it back a notch. But don't be afraid to really pronounce this R as you're speaking. Zlom vás.